welcome to another episode of Simply Delicious. Today, we are going to be showing you a couple of things. I'm going to show you how to make a refreshing margarita, bringing the new year in with something new, something fresh, and something calming and cooling. And I'm also going to show you how to open a bottle of sparkling wine and or champagne. This is the New Year's. It's likely that you will pop a bottle of a beautiful champagne or Prosecco or Cava. They all are distinctively different. Although they are all sparkling wines, they do come from different regions and some have a different type of taste. So if you are someone who is not used to a champagne, you don't like something that is very dry and maybe, for lack of better words, bitter, I'd recommend you go with a Prosecco. Proseccos are typically a lot more bubbly, they're a lot more fruity, and they're a lot more refreshing. If you are someone who has a little bit of flair or understanding of your sparkling wines and you want something that tastes great but is very inexpensive or not so expensive, I love to go in Trader Joe's. They have some beautiful sparkling wines that mimic the flavors and the bubbles of the champagne. This is one of my absolute favorites if you are trying to get a bang for your buck for the New Year's, or maybe you're buying a lot of bottles of sparkling wine or champagne and you don't want to necessarily spend too much collectively on your champagne. This would be my recommendation of a go-to for you. Now, what about those people that you have as guests that don't like champagne at all, but they want to partake? I always go for a sweet red. In this case, it's a sparkling sweet red. This is one of my all-time favorites. A Lambrusco is always going to be a great dessert wine. It's always going to be a great sparkling wine that has some nice fruity notes to it. This one is great for a lot of different occasions. Every time I pop this bottle and I put it in a decanter, people are always asking, what is that you have? That tastes great. Another super inexpensive bottle of sparkling wine that would go or pair great with these as options for the New Year's. So now that we know what my favorites are, let's talk a little bit about how to open a bottle of champagne. Because I've seen a lot of things. I've seen people popping the cork and letting it hit the ceiling. I've seen people who are like, oh my God, the sound, the pop, that's how you know you're opening it correct. I don't know where that came from. But there is a very distinctive and important thing that you must know about opening a bottle of champagne, Cava, Prosecco, or sparkling wine. First thing, obviously, we have to take the seal off. There's always going to be a flap. You want to peel around that flap so you get a nice, neat peel. I always am big on presentation, so what I typically do is fold my peels back over. Because when you're serving your guests, you don't want to serve them something that just looks all over the place. The next thing is, this cage is actually to help you open your bottle of wine, and it's also there to secure the cork so that it does not explode or pop off. Sometimes there can be pressure that builds up and that can cause the wine to cork to come off. So this is a protective barrier, but it also is there to help you hold your wine to open it. So the first thing is there should be 6 twists on every champagne or sparkling wine. It's 3, 4, 5, and 6. The next thing is a lot of people take this cage off when they're opening their wine. You do not take the cage off when opening the wine. It actually is there to serve a purpose as a grip so that you can actually grip the cork properly. And this also is in between the finger to help secure as well. Now, a lot of people think that you're supposed to hear a pop. What you want to do is hold the bottom of your champagne, or if you want to sit it on a counter and hold at the neck, that's totally fine as well. And what you're going to do is slowly rock, and you should hear a slight fizz. And that is how you're to open your wine, people. You never want to pop the cork. You always want to face the cork away. A great thing is that this cage is also holding on to the cork, which secures the cork actually into your hand. So even if it did decide to pop or explode, the cage is there to protect everyone around you and yourself. I like to save my corks, so they go here on the bar. In pouring wine, you have a couple of options. Typically, something when it comes to a Lambrusco, you're going to use your traditional wine glass. I like something with a large bowl so that we can aerate the wine and we can open up all of those fruity notes and all of the flavors in the flavor palette, as well as we can get a good smell of what we're smelling, because a large part of that smelling the wine has to do with the taste of the wine. So you want to first smell your wine. If it's a wine, champagne, you can as well, but you don't want to spoil your champagne. You want to be able to smell all of those flavor palettes that are inside of your drink of choice, as well as while you're tasting. So this is one option. My next option is, which is my most common option, I love a stemless champagne flute. This is what's most common that I serve champagnes or Prosecco's or Cavas in, even my sparkling wines. Something like a Lambrusco would be obviously served in a traditional wine glass. So when pouring our champagne, what I want to do is tip slightly to the side, and I want to allow my champagne to run down the bottom or the side of my champagne flute, so that we don't get an explosion or an overflowing of bubbles all the way to the top. What I like to do for the New Year's, we're going to take our wine, we're going to take a splash of San Pellegrino right on the top. I'm going to agitate a mint leaf, drop it right in the top, and you have a quick spritzer for the New Year's. Tastes absolutely divine, especially for someone who is not a champagne drinker. The mint leaf doesn't come out in the flavor palette, but it just gives you an inhale of a different smell, so that it kind of mutes the taste of the actual champagne. San Pellegrino is a lemony zest, so you get less of the natural flavors of your champagne.